Hi, I'm Serena Carter, and this is my story. It's not an easy one to tell, but I want you to hear it, the raw, messy truth of how I ended up in a world I never imagined, tangled up with a man who changed everything. So, grab a cozy spot, maybe a cup of tea, and let me take you back to the moment my life turned upside down. It all started with a choice I never thought I'd make. Picture this. I'm standing backstage at an auction, my heart pounding like a drum, my palms sweaty, and my stomach twisting with nerves. The room is buzzing with whispers, and I can feel the weight of 100 eyes waiting to judge me. I'm about to do something unthinkable, sell my virginity to the highest bidder. Why? Because my mom is dying. Her medical bills are piling up, and I'm drowning in debt. My job at the art gallery barely pays for rent, let alone the treatments she needs to survive. I'm out of options, and this feels like my only way out. It wasn't supposed to be like this. The idea started as a cruel joke on some shady online forum, a place where desperate women like me were mocked. But the more I thought about it, the more it seemed like a solution. One night, one payment, and I'd walk away with enough money to save my mom. Simple, right? At least, that's what I told myself as I stood there, trying not to shake under the bright lights. Then the auctioneer called out the winning bid. Serena Carter, sold to Mr. Damian Blackwood. My breath caught in my throat. Damian Blackwood? The billionaire CEO of Blackwood Enterprises? The man whose name was all over the news for his ruthless business deals and cold, calculating ways. I peeked from behind the curtain and saw him, a tall, imposing figure in a sharp suit, his icy blue eyes locking onto mine. The crowd seemed to shrink in his presence, like they knew he wasn't just another rich guy. He was the guy. And he'd chosen me. My heart raced as he approached, his steps confident, like he owned the room. "Miss Carter," he said, his voice low and commanding. "Shall we?" I nodded, my hands trembling, and followed him to a private room. It was sleek, modern, all dark grays and sharp edges, screaming money and power. I felt small in my cheap clearance rack dress, but I tried to hold my head high. Damian didn't look at me like the other bidders, had no leering, no smirks. Instead, he studied me like I was a puzzle he needed to solve. It made my skin prickle. "You must think this is strange," he said, leaning back in his chair, casual but intense. "But I admire it. You're taking control of your situation." I laughed, bitter. "You admire my desperation?" He shook his head. "Not desperation, courage. You could have given up, but you didn't." His words hit me hard, but I didn't trust them. This was supposed to be a simple deal, one night. No strings, but the way he looked at me, like he saw something more, made me uneasy. Then he dropped the bomb. "I didn't bid on you for pleasure, Serena," he said, his voice cold and steady. "I need something else, something more valuable." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" He stepped closer, his eyes never leaving mine. "You're connected to my family's past, a secret that destroyed us. I need your help to uncover the truth, to bring down the people who ruined my life. In return, I'll pay for your mother's treatment." I froze. This wasn't part of the plan. My mom's life was on the line, but now I was being pulled into a dangerous game I didn't understand. "What does this have to do with me?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Your family," he said, his tone sharp. "They're tied to the scandal that tore my family apart. Your father especially. He betrayed us, sold out my father's company, and left us with nothing." My father? I barely knew him. He'd been gone most of my life. The idea that he was part of some massive betrayal was too much to process. "You're wrong," I whispered, but doubt crept in. "I don't know anything about this." Damian's eyes softened, just for a moment. "I know you don't. That's why I need you. You're my way and someone who can help me find the truth. If you do this, I'll save your mom. I promise." I wanted to run, to scream that this wasn't my fight. But my mom's face flashed in my mind, her frail body in that hospital bed, the beeping machines, the doctors' grim faces. I had no choice. "Okay," I said, my voice barely audible. "I'll help you." That was the moment everything changed. I wasn't just Serena Carter anymore. I was part of Damian's world, a world of secrets, power, and danger. And as I looked into his eyes, I felt a spark, something I couldn't name. Was it fear, attraction, or something deeper? The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Damian brought me into his sleek office, where we pored over files, piecing together the puzzle of his family's downfall. He was intense, driven, but every now and then, I'd catch a glimpse of something softer, a smile, a gentle touch that made my heart skip. I was falling for him, even though I knew it was dangerous. He was a man obsessed with revenge, and I was just a piece of his plan. Or was I? One night, as I sat in my tiny apartment, exhausted from hospital visits and digging through Damian's files, I found something that stopped me cold. A document with my name on it, Serena Carter, daughter of George Blackwood. My breath hitched. George Blackwood? Damian's father? My mom had an affair with him? The truth hit me like a punch. My whole life, I'd been lied to. My father wasn't who I thought he was, and I was tied to Damian in ways I never imagined. I confronted him, holding up the paper, my hands shaking. What is this, Damian? Is this true? He didn't flinch. I found out a while ago, he said quietly. Your mom and my dad, they were together. It's part of why everything fell apart. Tears stung my eyes. Why didn't you tell me? I wanted to protect you, he said, stepping closer. But you're in this now, Serena. We both are. I wanted to hate him, to walk away, but I couldn't. Not when my mom's life depended on him. Not when I felt this pull between us, like we were two broken pieces trying to fit together. We'll figure this out, I said, my voice firm despite the chaos in my heart. Together, he nodded, his hand brushing mine. Together. But the deeper we dug, the darker things got. Damian introduced me to Victor Langley, an older man with sharp eyes and a smile that didn't reach them. He knows about your family, Damian said. He can help us. Victor's words chilled me. Your father destroyed everything, Serena. But if you help us, we can make things right. I didn't trust him, but Damian did. And I couldn't shake the feeling that Victor was playing a bigger game. Then there was Victoria, a woman from Damian's past who hated me on sight. He was supposed to marry me. She spat, her eyes burning. You're nothing but a distraction. She leaned in, her voice a venomous whisper. Leave him, or I'll expose every secret you're hiding. Secrets? I didn't even know what she meant, but her words planted a seed of doubt. Was Damian using me? Was I just a pawn in his revenge? I wanted to ask him, but he was pulling away, consumed by his mission. Every time I thought we were getting closer, he'd shut me out, leaving me alone with my fears. One night, as I sat in Damian's penthouse, a text lit up my phone. You're being watched. Don't trust anyone. My heart stopped. Who sent it? Victor? Victoria? Someone else? Before I could process it, the door burst open, and strong hands grabbed me. A cloth pressed against my face, and the world went dark. I woke up in a cold, empty warehouse, my head pounding. Victor stood over me, his smile cruel. You thought you could outsmart me? He said. I've been pulling the strings all along, Damian. You, everyone? My heart sank. What do you want? I want the Blackwood Empire destroyed, he said, his voice cold. And you're the key. Before I could respond, the door flew open, and there was Damian. But his eyes weren't warm or protective, they were hard, distant. Serena, he said, his voice flat. This ends now. I stared at him, my chest tightening. Were you working with him? I whispered. Was this all a lie? He shook his head, but his words were clipped. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you everything. Tears welled up. You used me. I was trying to protect you, he said, but the words felt hollow. Then another voice cut through the room, James Montclair, a man I thought was long gone. You're both fools, he said, his smile chilling. This was never about revenge. It's about the truth you're not ready to face. The warehouse erupted in chaos, shouts, footsteps, a loud crash. Damian grabbed my arm, pulling me toward the exit. We have to go, he said, his voice urgent. But as we ran, I couldn't shake James's words. What truth were we missing? And why did it feel like we were still being played? Weeks later, the dust settled. The war between the Blackwoods and Montclairs was over, but the scars ran deep. Damian and I stood on his balcony, the city skyline glowing gold in the sunset. I'm sorry, he said, his voice rough with regret, for everything, the lies, the manipulation. I took a deep breath. We both made mistakes, but we're here now. We can rebuild. He reached for my hand, his touch warm and steady. I don't deserve you, he murmured. Yes, you do, I said, squeezing his hand. We've been through too much to give up now. As he pulled me close, I felt a flicker of hope. The danger was over, and we could start over. But then my phone buzzed. It was Victor. The game isn't over, Serena, he said, his voice smooth and menacing. The pieces are still moving. My heart sank. I looked at Damian, his jaw tight, his eyes burning with determination. We'll face it together, he said. I nodded, but deep down, I knew the truth. Our story wasn't over. The lies, the secrets, the danger, they were still out there waiting. But as I stood there with Damian, I realized something else. Love isn't just about the happy moments. It's about fighting through the pain, the betrayal, and the fear. It's about choosing each other, no matter what, and whatever came next, we'd face it together.